I never thought I'd be the kind of man who plotted revenge. When you stand at an altar and promise forever, your mind doesn't wander to betrayal or schemes. You imagine anniversaries, vacations, growing old together. That's what I thought marriage meant. And for a long time, I believed that's what Melissa and I had. We met in our 20s at a friend's party. She was magnetic, the type of person everyone gravitated toward. I was quieter, the guy who hung back with a drink and observed. But she crossed the room, struck up a conversation, and within an hour I was laughing in a way I hadn't in years. She had this light about her, and I fell for it fast. Within a year we were living together. Within 3, we were married. Life wasn't always easy, money was tight, jobs were stressful, but I thought love made up for it. I thought we were building a foundation. I thought wrong. At first I ignored the signs. Melissa started working late, then later. She claimed she was trying to impress her boss, land bigger clients, secure our future. I wanted to be supportive, so I cooked dinner alone, ate alone, and waited for her to stumble home at midnight with excuses about deadlines. Then came the phone habits, keeping it face down, clutching it like it was oxygen, stepping into the bathroom to answer texts. I asked once, half-jokingly, who she was always talking to. She rolled her eyes and said, "It's just work stuff, stop being paranoid." I wanted to believe her, so I did. But the intimacy vanished. She stopped kissing me goodbye in the mornings, stopped holding my hand on the couch, stopped wanting me in bed. She said she was stressed, too tired, not in the mood. Weeks turned into months, and my marriage felt like a hollow shell. I told myself it was a phase, that she'd come back to me when things calmed down. One Friday evening, my project at work wrapped early. I thought I'd surprise her with dinner, pick up her favorite Thai food, light some candles, maybe reconnect. When I pulled into the driveway, her car was already there. A flicker of hope rose in me. Maybe she had come home early too. Maybe tonight would be the night we'd break the silence and remember who we were. I unlocked the door and stepped inside. The house was too quiet. No TV, no music. Just the faint sound of something upstairs. My stomach knotted. I set the food down and crept toward the staircase. The bedroom light was on. As I reached the door, I heard it, laughter. Not hers alone, but hers blended with a man's. I pushed the door open just enough to see. There they were. My wife in our bed, tangled up with a stranger. His hand on her skin, her voice whispering things I used to think were mine alone. They hadn't noticed me. My body went cold, my heart hammering in my ears. I wanted to charge in, to drag him out by the throat, to scream at her until the walls shook. But something stronger than rage held me back. Clarity. I stepped away, silent as a ghost, and walked back down the stairs. I sat on the couch, staring at nothing, waiting for the noise upstairs to stop. Eventually, I heard the creak of the bed, footsteps, the muffled sound of the shower. I slipped out the front door, unnoticed, and drove aimlessly into the night. The betrayal cut deep, but I wasn't going to give them the satisfaction of a messy confrontation. I wanted justice, not drama. So I started planning. I spent the next week gathering evidence. Melissa was careless. She left her phone unattended long enough for me to forward messages and pictures to my own email. Their conversations were explicit, leaving no room for doubt. I installed a small camera in our bedroom when I knew she thought I'd be working late. 2 days later, I had footage that made me sick to my stomach but sealed my case. It wasn't just cheating. It was cheating in my bed, in the home I had worked to build for us, the place that was supposed to be sacred. I spoke to a lawyer. Quietly, carefully, I learned my options. Infidelity carried weight in our state, especially when documented. I could protect myself financially, emotionally, legally. But more than that, I wanted the truth to come out. Melissa cared about her image. She was the golden daughter in her family, the friend who bragged about her perfect marriage on social media. She had humiliated me in the most intimate way possible. I was going to return the favor, but without lowering myself to her level. Once I had everything organized, texts, photos, videos, I created small packets. Each contained a polite letter explaining what Melissa had done, along with the evidence. I didn't embellish or rant. I let the facts speak for themselves. One packet went to her parents, one to her sister, a few to close family friends who had always admired her. I sent one to my own family too, so they'd know the truth from me rather than rumors. Then I waited. The fallout came fast. Her mother called me in hysterics, demanding to know if it was true. Her father, a stern man who valued loyalty above all else, left me a voicemail saying he was ashamed of her. Her sister texted me, "I can't believe she did this to you." Within days, the image Melissa had spent years cultivating crumbled. Melissa herself discovered what I'd done when her phone blew up with calls from her family. She stormed home, her face twisted with rage. "What the hell did you do?" she screamed, slamming the door behind her. I stayed calm. "I told the truth. You ruined me," she shouted, tears streaking her cheeks. "No," I said quietly. "You ruined yourself. I just made sure people saw it." She tried to spin excuses, to claim it was a mistake, that she was lonely, that it didn't mean anything, but her words rang hollow against the mountain of evidence I had collected. Finally, she collapsed onto the couch, sobbing, muttering that she'd thrown her life away. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. The divorce moved quickly. With the evidence, my lawyer secured me the house and protected most of my assets. Melissa walked away with little more than her car and her clothes. The affair partner? He disappeared the moment things got messy, ghosting her completely. She had blown up her marriage and her reputation for a man who didn't even stick around. In the months that followed, I rebuilt. At first, the silence of the house was crushing. Every corner reminded me of betrayal. But slowly it became mine again, a place of peace rather than pain. I reconnected with friends, threw myself into work, started taking care of myself in ways I'd neglected during the marriage. Melissa, on the other hand, spiraled. Word spread in her social circles. The friends who had once idolized her avoided her now. Her parents distanced themselves, too ashamed to defend her. She moved into a small apartment and struggled to rebuild her life from the ground up. Sometimes people ask if I regret how I handled it, if exposing her to everyone was too cruel. But when I think back to that night, to walking into my bedroom and seeing her with him in the very place we were supposed to be most connected, I know I did what I had to do. She took something sacred and desecrated it. My revenge wasn't about pettiness. It was about truth, justice, and reclaiming my dignity. Epic revenge doesn't always look like shouting matches or smashed dishes. Sometimes it's quiet, methodical, devastating in its precision. Melissa thought she could betray me in secret, keep her perfect image intact. She never imagined I'd be the one to shatter it, and when I look back now, I don't feel rage anymore. I feel free. She destroyed our marriage with her choices. I simply made sure the world saw the truth.